The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second Phenomenal Cleaning and Restoration Community webcast. We are so happy you guys are here with us today. Last week, recap, you learned from Santiago. He taught you guys how to close more sales. You can find that on our PCRC website. And if you can't get to it, please let me know and we can email that to you. This week, we have a very special guest. And she's a very good friend of mine. She's super awesome. I can't wait to tell you about her, and I can't wait for her to share with you 5 tips for more enjoyable insurance purchasing. Now, we all hate buying insurance, but with Kari, she makes it fun, and she's really going to educate you guys on how it isn't really that difficult. So stay tuned. A couple of facts that I wanted to share with you guys about Kari is that she grew up in the insurance industry and graduated high honors with a bachelor in business administration. She also was recognized recently as Elite Women in Business, Young Gun in Insurance, and Hot 100 Awards, which is super impressive. We are so happy that she is part of our PCRC faculty, and I can't wait to introduce you. So without further ado, Kari Dybdahl, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Aliki.
Hey, Kari. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to let everyone listen to you and learn from you. And, I want to just pass the baton to you and let you get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Howard, Santiago, and Aliki, for asking me to be part of the PCRC faculty and to share this time with you all today. Before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know I love questions. So if you have any questions during this presentation, please be sure to jot them down, and you can email them to me or call me or put them into the chat function or question function of your control panel. So like Aliki said, a little bit about me. I've been in the insurance industry for 10 years. I grew up in the insurance industry and work for a family business. I'm a judge at the Experience Speaking Contest in September. The one this September is the 5th, 6th, and 7th in Las Vegas, so be sure to check that out. I will also be teaching a class at that show as well. So if you want to meet me, come to the Experience show and you'll see me there. During the day or the day-to-day that I do is I develop insurance policies and programs specifically for the cleaning and restoration industry. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. And along with the awards that Aliki said, I've also been an elite woman in business through Insurance Business America. So during the last decade, I've helped more than 1,300 firms in the industry, and I'm here to share my 5 best tips that I've figured out to make insurance purchasing more enjoyable for contractors just like yourself. So let's dive into it. Let's meet Greg. So Greg is also known as the H2O extracting whisperer. He is sick of spending hours wasting those hours explaining to his insurance agent what he does for a living. So he did his research through the Phenomenal Cleaning and Restoration Community and discovered 5 tips to making insurance more enjoyable, or insurance purchasing more enjoyable. So the first tip is to find an experienced retail insurance agent. So what I mean here, this is your local agent in your area. And I'm a licensed insurance agent. I had to be licensed to sell insurance to you guys. And from my licensing exam, I can assure you that there is no place for an insurance agent to learn how to insure a restoration contractor. They do not teach that in any course to an insurance agent. So we cannot assume they know what you do for a living. When you explain to them what you do for a living, you are essentially speaking Greek to them. They have no idea. And From being in the insurance industry for so long and helping restoration contractors, I've seen class codes all over the place. So I challenge you guys to look at your general liability policy, your declarations page, which is your first page of your policy, and see what your class code is. If you are a water extractor and you are coded as a janitor or a carpet cleaner, that's a big sign that your insurance agent needs help figuring out how to insure you. If you are a carpet cleaner and you're coded as a carpet cleaner, that's a great start. That's a good start. The best one that I have seen is where a full-blown mold remediator, asbestos abatement, water extracting restoration contractor was coded as a fast food chain. Can you guys believe that? A fast food chain. This guy is remediating mold. Do you think if he got into a claim or had a loss where he had to file a claim, the claims adjuster is going to like that someone that's coded as a fast food chain is a mold remediator? Absolutely not. And the chances of that claim getting covered is almost slim to none, because that claims adjuster might think that you've misrepresented when you didn't at all. It was someone coded you as a fast food chain. Oh my gosh, someone just said that they were coded as a restaurant. Exactly. So these are really, really scary things that we see. And it's a good indicator that your retail agent might need help figuring out how to insure you. So you want to find a retail agent that knows how to write insurance on contractors. Just because they write your personal auto insurance doesn't mean they know how to write insurance for your business. So you need a retail agent in your area. So you don't want to get rid of your local retail agent because they understand the laws in your state for workers' comp or auto liability. They understand the minimum limits that you need and those sort of things. So you don't want to not have a retail agent in your area. You definitely want to keep a retail agent, but you need to find one that's experienced in writing contractors. So a good way to weed out the experienced retail agents from the inexperienced is to ask them how many specialty trade contractors they write in their book of business. So what I mean by that is how many plumbers or electricians. They don't have to write another restoration contractor in the area. They just need to know how to write trade contractors. And the reason for this is trade contractors get into more contracts. So that agent has to sell insurance that works for all these various contracts. So find an agent that's experienced in writing trade contractors. And the best question to ask is if they've heard of contractors' environmental liability. If they've heard of that, you've just hit the retail insurance agent gold mine. That is a really, really great start. You want to work with that retail agent. The second tip is to find a wholesale broker who specializes in your industry. So wholesale brokers in general are used as market access for specialty lines of coverage. So that is the formal value of a wholesale broker. Just because they're a wholesale broker doesn't mean they know how to write insurance for a cleaning and restoration contractor. So you want to take it one step further, and you want to find a wholesale broker that understands this industry, so understands the cleaning and restoration industry. You want to find someone that is highly involved in your industry because they are behind the scenes, nuts and bolts, making sure that your insurance program works. So what I do is I'm a wholesale broker. This is my side of the business. And I go to these shows and the conferences so I can learn what you guys do for a living. And then I craft it into a policy. So I incorporate what you guys do and then make sure that our insurance policies have the right amount of coverage for that. So at one show I went to, I saw that you guys are up on a roof after a fire loss, putting up plastic and shrink wrapping it. Well, the underwriters didn't think that restoration contractors get up on roofs. And I had to go back and go, yeah, they do. We cannot have exclusions for that. So your wholesale broker needs to be specialized in your industry because they are the behind the scenes, creating a solution for some of the most complex liabilities that your company takes on. So you want them to have an exceptional knowledge of what you do, because your wholesale broker is going to be the one that says, hey, you need to be worried about carpet cleaners and the release of vapor. They need coverage for the release of vapor, or for water extractors. They need to sit there and go, hey guys, we need to give coverage for Cat 3 water jobs. If you're just going to any wholesale broker, they don't know those things. They're not going to know that a carpet cleaner needs coverage for the vaporization of things. So, or if those odors are released from the cleaning solution that you need or that you use and it causes bodily injury, that's something that's excluded on a general liability policy. So those are the things that a wholesale broker looks at. So one question that you need to ask your wholesale broker is if they know what the IICRC is. If your wholesale broker does not know what the IICRC is, find a new wholesale broker. It doesn't have to be me, but you have to find one that knows what the IICRC is. That is an absolute must when it comes to selecting that broker. And it is completely, as the cleaning and restoration professional, you get to choose who's on your team. So you can choose what wholesale broker your retail agent works with. So keep that in mind. So the third tip is start the insurance purchasing process early. So what do I mean by early? What I mean by early is 3 months from your expiration date or 3 months from when you want to buy insurance. So if you're a startup, start thinking about insurance 3 months before you want to take on your first job. So that's early to us, is 3 months. In the insurance purchasing process, there's an application. And the application can seem redundant to us because it might ask questions that don't pertain to us, or it just seems like run-of-the-mill kind of things. But it's important to know that your application becomes part of your policy. So when you're completing that application, you want to make sure that you're getting everything out there on that application that you can, or else the claims adjusters can get you for misrepresentation. So they could say that you misrepresented your company, and if you would have told them that information, they wouldn't have written your insurance. So make sure that you tell your agent of any changes that happen, if you're changing your services, if you're taking on crime scene cleanup, or if you're a carpet cleaner that wants to get into the restoration or water extraction. That is something that your agent needs to know, because underwriters have underwriting guidelines, and it goes by classes of business and services. So just because you're a carpet cleaner and you're getting into these other services, those other services could kick you out of that carrier, and your agent needs to find you a carrier that wants to take on the additional services that you are offering. So that's why we really want to start this process 3 months early, so that no one is scrambling to figure out how to write your insurance, and then they might miss some important pieces of coverage, or worse yet, you get into a cancellation and have no coverage because your agent can't find you the right coverage. So the services that you provide the services that you provide give you different insurance needs. So just because you're doing one type of service doesn't mean that your policy works. So you have to make sure. For example, off the shelf contractors' environmental liability policies exclude bacteria. There's no coverage for bacteria. Well, Category 3 water is grossly contaminated with bacteria. So if you're just buying a policy, or you did not tell your agent that you're starting to do Category 3 water jobs, you might not have coverage for those jobs because your agent didn't know. So make sure that you're letting your agent know early on the changes of services that you're taking on. So let's pause here for a little bit and check in to see if we have any questions. So one question that we had is about bay lease. So someone takes their property or takes customers' property back to their warehouse. And that is a really good question. So in those situations, bay lease is pretty complex for carpet cleaners and water extractors, more for restoration guys after fires, or they might be keeping property for longer periods of time. Standard bay lease policies have storage exclusions on them. So beware of that. So if you're going to be storing customers' property for a couple months or whenever a job's done, you might not have coverage for that on bay lease. So if you want more information about care, custody, control versus bay lease coverage versus your general liability and customers' property, let me know. I can definitely help you with that. So you can email me or call me. My information is going to be at the end of this webinar. So definitely reach out to me. I love working on bay lease and care, custody, and control and helping you guys with those questions. So the fourth tip that I have, and this one is not as exciting as I know you guys probably wanted, but never buy solely on price. And I'm going to get really real and raw with you here. I have seen a company go out of business from this. They bought solely on price. They stripped their coverage. They had a loss for bodily injury, property damage, defense costs, and there was no insurance coverage available because they bought solely on price and they stripped their coverage and they had to go out of business. I've seen it with my own eyes and I never want to see that again. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to never buy solely on price. We will get into the 4 C's of insurance that every insurance buyer needs to follow to avoid having their doors shut down because they didn't have the right insurance in place. So it's very important to know that your insurance needs are more complex than a nuclear bomb plant cleanup contractor's insurance. And that is true. So let me read that again. Your insurance needs are more complex than a nuclear bomb plant cleanup contractor's insurance. That is absolutely accurate. And if you want more information about that and the history behind why your insurance is more complex than a nuclear bomb plant cleanup contractors, please reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation and teach you all about it. We created the first policy for nuclear bomb plant cleanup contractors, and we also created the first environmental policy for restoration contractors. And I would love to tell you the history behind those. So I'm going to throw some statistics at you. There are over 144 and counting versions of a contractor's pollution liability policy. So if you're buying a contractor's pollution liability policy, awesome. You just took the first step. That is a great step to cover for the vapors on carpet cleaners. So if you're cleaning a carpet and the orange scent of a carpet were to release and gives you can't breathe anymore and things like that, that is an environmental loss. So those are really, really scary things. The other one is the bacteria. So category 3 water is really scary for water extractors. So you need a contractor's pollution liability policy to help with those. And the way that I like to relate the 144 versions of a CPL policy is to cars. Let's say that there are 144 variations of a car. You could buy a Ford Pinto or you could buy a Toyota. One, you're going to get into the car and you're going to close your eyes and cross your fingers and hope no one rear ends you, or else you're going to blow up. That's your Ford Pinto. Or you can spend a little bit more and drive a Toyota and know that if someone rear ends you, it's not going to blow up. So you can relate that to your insurance policies too, because not all insurance policies are the same. Just because they have the name doesn't mean that they're giving the same coverage. So keep that in mind. 8 out of 10 contractors have coverage clause in their policies that they buy just for that water extraction in the category 3 water and the vapor. So the release of vapor for carpet cleaners. And if you're shopping for price, you are most likely stripping your coverage. So be sure that you're looking at the coverage that they're giving as well as the price. And if you can afford it, and if it's not going to hurt your overhead or your bottom line, you want to buy the broader coverage. It will be less than you acting as an insurance carrier when you get into a claim. So remember how I told you about the guy that had to shut down his doors because he didn't have insurance? He probably would have bought the broader coverage if he knew, if he could project what just happened with this other loss that he had. So the insurance is less than you acting as an insurance carrier. And the 4 C's of insurance are coverage, claims, carrier, and cost. 3 of those affect you. So 3 of those will affect you 365 days out of the year. 1 of those will affect you once. So what's the one that's going to affect you 1 day out of the year? It's the cost. So yeah, you have to write the check and pay for your insurance. That affects you 1 day out of the year. But your coverage and your claims department and the carrier that you choose affects you 365 days out of the year. It affects you for every single job that you do. So it's really important to keep those 4 C's in mind when you're purchasing insurance. So coverage, you want to make sure your coverage is good. You want to make sure your claims department knows what you do for a living. So when you do get into a loss in a claim situation, they know how to adjust your claim accordingly. And carrier, you want to find a carrier with a good financial backing. So last but not least, the last tip I have for you is provide contract insurance requirements before you buy your insurance. So you want to send a copy. If you get into contracts with general contractors, property owners, schools, you name it. If you get into contracts, you want to give a copy of those contracts to your insurance agent and your insurance wholesale broker, because hidden deep in those contracts could be an insurance requirement where your policy might need to be endorsed or we need to add additional coverage for. For example, if a college wanted to be added as a 30-day NOC or added as a specific additional insured on your policy, needing 30 days notice of cancellation if something were to happen to your insurance policy, that is something that has to be specifically endorsed onto your policy because we have to name that specific college on that policy. So if we do not have a copy of that contract, we don't know that. Or maybe the contract says that you have to have completed operations coverage for 5 years. If we didn't get a copy of the contract, we're not going to know that. So, and we're not going to be able to remind you, hey, by the way, you need to keep your insurance in place so that you don't violate this contract that you have. So you could get kicked off of a job if your insurance isn't to the contract. So if you're starting a job and someone reviews our certificate of insurance that we send and they go, hey, this isn't meeting our contract, we could have a problem. So make sure that you're giving those contracts early. If you're at the renewal stage right now, you want to send those to your agent now. If you get into contracts throughout the year, you want to get those off to your insurance team as soon as you can and let them figure it out so that you don't have to read through it and figure out what to request. Just shoot it off to your insurance agent and say, hey guys, I need to meet this contract. That's a lot easier. And then you guys get to go back to being a carpet cleaner and restoration contractor, and you're not in a contract reading insurance person. So send those contracts off to your insurance agent and let them make sure that you have the right coverage. So thank you so much. Make sure to follow these 5 tips when you are buying your insurance, and you can be an insurance purchasing rock star. So purchasing insurance can be enjoyable when you work with the right people. If you feel like you are pushing a boulder up a mountain, there's something wrong. It should not feel like that. It should be enjoyable. You should like the insurance team that you're working with. So your insurance team is paid by commissions. The good ones do not cost more than the bad ones. They're getting paid off of the policy premium. So you're not paying extra for a good agent. So might as well find the good ones. So find the retail agents that know how to work with trade contractors. Find the wholesale brokers that know what the IIC or C is. That is who you want on your insurance team. So if anything bad happens, they are there to help you and support you. That's what your insurance team is for. So the best part is you get to choose your team. If you don't like them, find another team. There are 314,000 insurance agents in America. You're going to find one that you like. So find an insurance agent that you like, and find an insurance wholesale brokerage that you like. And remember, there are 4 C's in insurance. And those 4 C's are coverage, carrier, claims, and cost. And remember, 3 of them affect you 365 days out of the year, and only 1 affects you 1 day a year. So you want to make sure that you're focusing on that coverage. You want to make sure that you're focusing on a reputable carrier, and you want to ensure that your claims department of that carrier knows what a restoration contractor does. So how do you do that? You ask the wholesale broker, does the claims department know what I do for a living? And see what they say. And then the last one is cost. So one tip I want to give you is before we go here is, if you buy insurance for every single risk that your company takes on, you will make no profit. You will spend all of your profit in premium dollars. So you definitely want to look at the risk profile of, can I self-insure some of this exposure? Or could this cause a catastrophic loss? If it can cause a catastrophic loss, then you want to buy insurance. If it's not going to shut down your company, then maybe you might want to self-insure that. But if you buy insurance coverage for every single risk that your company takes on, you will not have profits. That's one thing to keep in mind. So if you loved this and you want more information, please do not hesitate to contact me. Here's my contact information, Kari@armr.net, or my direct line is 608-824-3341. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Dib into Success. That's where I kind of do it's almost my online journal. So I write some motivational things and stuff like that. It's not on necessarily insurance, it's just in general success. Also, you can find me in Clean Facts. I'm a contributing author in that. We will also be starting Kari's Corner, which is more of a blog post format. And then also through the PCRC, I will be writing some content for them. So reach out with any questions that you guys have. Oh, here's a question. Do you have insurance specifications for a carpet guy? Yes, I do. So I have a recommended insurance checklist of all the different types of insurance coverages that a restoration and carpet cleaner should look into. So if you guys would like a copy of that insurance checklist, let me know and I can definitely shoot that one over to you. How do you find an agent that knows what I do for a living? I can help you with that. We work with agents across the country, so I can help you pre-qualify an agent to make sure that they know what you do for a living. So if you want to contact me, I can definitely help you find a local agent in your area. So thank you guys again. If you see Greg over here, Greg is very happy. He used our 5 insurance tips and he is now a happy insurance purchasing person. So if you have anything else, let me know. So thank you. Thank you, Aliki.
Kari, this was awesome. I love how Greg is so happy at the end that he used your tips. This is so clever, and we really appreciate you giving us this advice.
You are so welcome. Let me know, guys, if there's anything else. I am here for you as part of the PCRC faculty, and you can reach out at any time.
Thank you, Kari. And guys, Kari has a offer that we will be shooting you via email. So if you have questions on that, you can always contact her as well. And stay tuned for next week. We will have our 3rd webcast, and that will be from me. And that will tell you how to triple your referrals. Okay, so I hope you guys join me as well next week. But in the meantime, let us know if you have any questions or concern. You can email us or call us anytime at 281-634-0404. Thanks, and you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. Bye.